Let's fight, folks. Let's fight. Welcome in the ring, those of you joining us on Twitter, joining us on Facebook, joining us on YouTube. Guys, I was ready to start at 8 o'clock. I was waiting for my sister to wrap up her show, advancing the cause there. My sister, Coretta McDonald, she's in the process of wrapping up. I didn't want us to have competing programs on our pages. I was holding for her to wrap up. I was ready to go since 5 to 8, guys. I hate to be late. I despise being late. I despise being late. I'd rather be early than late. I love to be on time, and I value your time a lot. I really value your time. I was holding, and I'm gonna fight Coretta. I think I'm gonna have to fight Coretta. That's what I think I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna fight Coretta. I gotta fight Harmon too. Guys, I hope you are well wherever you're joining us from, at home here in Guyana or in the diaspora, in the Caribbean, internationally, wherever you're joining us from. Thanks for joining us this evening. Thanks for waiting on us. Thanks for holding for us. I am so ready to go. I'm not going to waste any time this evening. I want to get right to it. A lot of information to share with you guys. A lot of information to share. And so I just want to, we're going to get to it as quickly as possible this evening. Folks, as you come on, we invite you guys to share the live stream. See, I brought some sunshine. If your day is not going well, we have brought some sunshine. Let me put back a little bit. Brought some sunshine into your lives, folks. Brought some sunshine into your life. You understand me? Brought some sunshine into your life. We ready to go with the hot topics? Share our live stream, folks. You guys did us such a favor last night, sharing the live stream wide and far. By the time we came off the live stream, we were checking on our numbers. We were so surprised that so many of you guys share the program. We want to top last night. And I think that we can do great things together if we challenge ourselves, guys. Lots of information to get through. Lots and lots of information to get through this evening. So I want to get right to it. Right. So take some of that sunshine. If you guys are cold, if you guys are hot, whatever is happening at your end, let me bring it up a little bigger. Take some of that sunshine. I am so ready to go with the hot topics. Take some of that sunshine. You know, some of y'all are cool and all sorts, right? So take some of that heat. Take some of that fire, guys. Take some of that, right? Give it to some of your family members, right? Because I know some of y'all are very down and dreary, and you know how, like, her. We gotta fight, folks. We gotta fight. Ready to go. And I'm so happy wherever you guys are joining us from. Twitter folks, good to have you on board with us. And my folks on YouTube, I am a tuber, guys. I am a tuber. All right. At my age, I am a tuber. Good to have all of you in the house. Pauline and Dre, is it Dre Accomplished, and Roxanne, Odessa Jacobs, and Marlon Thomas, Laura Williams, Colleen Isaacs, Michael Fraser, Selena Williams. When I call your names, you're going to say present, man. Go on. You all know y'all in class. Give me lots of information to share. The lessons about to start, folks. Selena Williams and Neville Baggott, Chanel Wills, all of you guys, Yasmin Henry, Oren Barker, Marsha Glasgow. Some of y'all have been absenting from school. We're going to fight y'all. But guys, getting right along with it. Signs of the times. Signs of the times are everywhere. Signs of the times are everywhere. Tonight we're in the diaspora, but signs of the times are everywhere. Everywhere. Right? Just this morning, I heard some people pray. Right? I heard some people, some PPP installed ministers start repenting for all the sins and the wicked and the dirtiness, right? Because we had a foggy morning. Oh, fog. It was a foggy morning, right? Some people thought it was the end, right? Some people says, kill the people, kill we out here now. It was a foggy morning, right? This was some of the scenes from not only Georgetown, but from the East Coast and the West Coast. All over, you had a lot of fog, a lot of these crosses, it's crosses. It's crosses we got, So these were some of the scenes of the fog. Just this morning was foggy, guys. Was foggy out there. Foggy, some people said snowing. I see some people in some tick court. right? And scarves and so on, wrap up. This is nippy outside, right? But what's what's fog? It's crosses. It's the crosses. It was foggy as hell. It's the PPP crosses, right? The Jagabats, the Trenchies, the Nakavakamites. It was them, right? Hippocytes, the Hippocytes. Foggy, foggy, foggy morning, right? But I'm happy that they turn to the higher power, because some of them got some real sins, some real sins. Foggy, foggy morning. Let me see if I can bring it up a little closer for you guys. I know some of y'all eyes and seeing too well. Some of y'all eyes the thing, right? So this was the scene. Again, foggy, foggy, foggy morning, right? Yolanda Moore is telling us on the west side that as well, it was foggy. Yolanda, did you start praying? Did you start confessing your sins and so on? Huh? What about the Essequibo? Is Redessa Williams from the Essequibo? How was it fogging there too? And Petal Brown, foggy, foggy morning for us. Well, the folks still witch hunting. The cross is still witch hunting. Y'all understand that? The cross is still witch hunting. Right? They witch hunting. So now, as you know by now, they would have sent home some of the folks there from GECOM. Keith Lowenfield and Roxanne Myers, Clement Mingo. They have sent them off on leave, accumulated leave. Right? Pending investigations. It is quite strange. Pending investigation. Or Walcott from Lovely Lass. This is strange to me. Right? Because I remember June 16, 2020, right? Swinging Claudette put out a press statement that GECOM can do investigations. How suddenly GECOM investigated? That's why I want to know. How all of a sudden GECOM investigating? Right? The investigating. So I heard them saying now they can try to see if they need a tribunal or whether it's a decision that GECOM can take. So in the process of Claudette now making up her mind, these people got sent home. And not only that, they're cleaning house. It's ethnic cleansing in GECOM. Right. So we learned today that they've sent home the legal officer. Right? Remember the legal officer who told them that the recount is illegal? Yes. Excellence Dazel. Well, they sent she off. Same woman who told them that the recount was illegal. They didn't want to hear that. Right. And I was made to understand that they sent off also the accountant. The accountant has gone as well. Let me see what's the fella's name. Right. So they have sent off the accountant as well. The chief accountant, Joseph Eastman. It is just striking to me. It is just striking to me as an aside, all these people black people. That hasn't missed me, Claudette. She's not me auntie. That hasn't missed me. So you got Lowenfield home, Excellence Dazel home, Mr. Joseph Eastman home, Roxanne Myers home, Clement Mingo home. Right? I remember that Claudette was charged with private criminal charges. That was dropped by the DPP. No reasons given. Maybe she should have gone home too. Right? Claudette trying to have us believe that she's the only angel at GECOM. Everybody is a demon. That's what Claudette wants us to believe. Big people like you and I. Big people like you and I. Arima Auguste, Alson Richards, Hazeline, Jaiwan, right? Nadia Seafood. Fraudette wants us to believe that she's the only angel at GECOM. She is the only angel at GECOM. And somehow, skullduggery was happening left, right, and center, but she didn't know. You understand me? The head of the organization, she didn't know. She was the only angel. She didn't know, she didn't see, and she didn't hear. Y'all hear madness. Moving on from there, folks. Right? Look across this here now. This is y'all by Ramson. Young, arrogant Ramson. Now you gone on a little outreach for share little hampers. Who want to do you something? Who want to do you something? You understand me? Who want to do you something? That's why I want to know. You gone to share out 2 hampers. Ministers are entitled whether you install or not to security. Installed or not, you're entitled to security. Right? Here is Ramson. This arrogant fella. He got a gun. Right? He got a gun. So you got to know that he got a gun. He got a gun. This is the wild, wild west, people. I have never seen this in all of my life. I don't think you have this in any part of the world where you have a minister openly carrying a firearm. This is the wild, wild west, not a country. Martin Carter says, Guyana is not a country, it's a civilized plantation. And this is proof. Guyana is not a country. This is the wild, wild west. Right? This is the wild, wild west. The wild, wild west, folks. Listen to me. Listen to me, folks. And listen carefully. The only time I got me gun, right? The only time I got me gun is when I see people watching my toilet paper funny. When people start watching me toilet paper funny, me making joke. Toilet paper too expensive in this country. I am not making jokes. Right? When I see people eyeing me toilet paper, no. I strapped Colleen Isaac and Wesley Ward and Alison Richard and Emily Duran. Y'all don't come around me funny with me toilet paper. Toilet paper in this country too expensive. So I don't know if Ramson was delivering toilet paper, I would forgive him. Because I understand that people would maul you for toilet paper, or maybe it was egg ball that they were sharing, because egg ball now is $4.60. Or maybe it was routine curry, $800, right? Otherwise than that, you sharing little flour and so on. What you want with gun? You understand me? But when you are coming around with toilet paper funny, then it's when I want y'all know I armed and dangerous, because toilet paper expensive in this country. Folks, you're now joining us, share the live stream. Share, right? But we understand the arrogance of Ramson. We don't forget him, right? You may have forgotten him, but I haven't forgotten him. Y'all remember when Ramson had to let me know that he had visa? Y'all remember that? Yeah. He had to let me know that he got a visitor's visa, right? He had to let us know that he got a visitor's visa, right? This is the highest accomplishment in his life. He got a visitor's visa. Well, we know he got gun now, boy. You understand me? We know you got gun now, right? So you can put it up. We understand how you roll. We know you got gun now. You have to show me you got visa. You understand me? You have to show you got visa, right? And he had to show with the later that he's emotionally distressed. I don't know if it's Gavin Matthews, the man frightened, the man walking around with gun, or is he visa guardian? I don't know. I don't know what is happening, but if it's toilet paper, you understand me? I give you a free pass, because toilet paper in this country expensive, more than gold and bauxite, timber, and rum. Right? That is why I ain't even left my toilet paper. I bring it with me on the set. I watching. Don't think you can pull a fast one on me, Nicole Telford. You understand me? I hear Nicole switch the times. I hear Nicole Telford switch the Times newspaper now. You understand me? Because toilet paper expensive, right? And Tiara Mohammed and Pauline Chambers and Marsha Glasgow, y'all know what I'm talking about, because y'all is friends with Nicole. Right? Moving along, folks. Moving along. We in the diaspora tonight. I want to leave these arrogant young people by themselves. You understand me? I want to let the arrogant young people by themselves. You know, listen, folks, this is what is happening in the US of A. I'm picking up my notes. Last night there were some elections held, some what do you call it, primary elections held in some boroughs, some districts, and some of our Caribbean people are really shining there, And I'm not going to go too much into this. And I want you guys to know that I'm picking up this information from Caribbean Life News, right? Some of our Guyanese folks are really doing well in the diaspora. Some of them are going to be with us this evening, some of our Guyanese folks from in the diaspora. But those that are involved in all facets of life, even politics, are doing extremely well, right? And so, for instance, we know that there were 191,000 ballots cast last evening, and they already have preliminary results, right? Now, Claudette, I don't know. Claudette should go home, you know. Claudette should go home. Claudette should go home. Last night was the election. They got preliminary results already. 191,000 votes cast. And they can tell us that a lot of the Caribbean candidates, right, or those persons who have Caribbean lineage, right, their parents came from the Caribbeans as immigrants, right, they are doing tremendously well. I'm going to pull out just a couple of them for you. For instance, this where I'm getting this news from, Caribbean Life says that the Board of Electors said it will release on June 29 the first set of official results from the ranked choice voting process, including only votes from the early in-person and election day votes, not absentee ballots. Good. So, for instance, we know that Caribbean candidates like Jermaine Williams, Farrah Lewis, Rita Joseph, Mercedes Narcisse, and Crystal Hudson are leading the in-person ballots. Now, these are all persons with Caribbean lineage, right? And you know, folks, if you throw a handful of peas or beans, you're going to knock a Guyanese somewhere in the world. So there were a couple of Guyanese as well, folks of Guyanese ancestry and lineage, who have been doing very, very well in these early numbers that have been released. For instance, the New York City comptroller, right? The New York City comptroller, Brian Benjamin, he is an Harvard educated son of a Guyanese mother and a Jamaican father, right? He is doing very, very well. He is doing tremendously well, right? There in those posts, Mr. Brian Benjamin. We also have, for instance, the Brooklyn Borough president. He's Haitian born. He is doing very well too. We have one Kerry Edwards, who is the son of a Trinidadian and a Guyanese immigrant. He's doing very well in the polls too. And across the many races, right, the many political races that are happening there in New York City, Caribbean people first and foremost, and then Guyanese, persons of Guyanese ancestry, lineage, and so forth, are doing very, very well. Again, I want to underscore the point that wherever Guyanese go, they always shine. They always shine. And I hope that you guys who are joining us in the diaspora continue to shine for all of the right reasons, right? And we have done so well. You know, we've reported on this recently. We have a whole area. We have a whole area in New York City, in Brooklyn, that is called Little Guyana, right? And again, we are so proud of that. Again, continuing in some diaspora news, in what is called the Windrush generation. This is in Britain. I'm shifting now, going across the Atlantic. Some good things happening there in Britain. Now, folks, this is the Windrush Day. It's a day that is chosen to celebrate those persons who would have gone to help rebuild Britain after the Second World War. Lots of people from the Caribbean went to Britain after the Second World War to help rebuild Britain there. And you have Windrush Day is celebrated on the 22nd day of June. That was quite recent. That was just yesterday. And so I want to just pick out two of the personalities that made the news. And again, These are of Guyanese ancestry, Guyanese lineage, folks. Very, very quickly before we have our guest on to help give context to some of these issues. So we have here Lynette Richards. Lynette Richards, and she is, let me give you a better view of Lynette Richards. And she is 82. She said that her experience in England has been working as a nurse in the 1950s after coming from the Caribbean. She came from Guyana. And Lynette Richards Murray, she's married Murray, she is a co-founder of the Association of Guyanese Nurses and Allied Professionals. Good, she's retired now, and she spends her time expanding and doing the work of that charity there, the Association of Guyanese Nurses and Allied Professionals. And then moving on very quickly, another person of Guyanese ancestry. Another person of Guyanese ancestry is Elizabeth Newton. And Elizabeth Newton, again, her parents would have come from this country, from good old Guyana, and she is a writer and poet there in Britain, doing extremely, extremely well. And her father would have gone to Britain in the 1950s again and would have contributed significantly. So again, Guyanese doing well all over the world. And guys, we continue to celebrate each and every one of you. There's a book that was published even recently on that, Windrush Generations, focused specifically at the indentured, those persons who went to Britain in that capacity, the other Windrush. And again, we're going to have the author of this book very soon on our program, the editors, and hopefully we get some more information there. Again, so we turn back our attention now, back home. Back home, right? And very quickly before we have our guest on, we're still looking at this COVID issue and these crosses. We're still looking at the sheik, right? We're still looking at this sheik, right? This sheik here, hi, this sheik here. Folks, just today, Starbuck News published this article in their newspaper. The WHO cites concern about the Russian Sputnik-V plant, right? Which says the issues are resolved, and we can get into some of that with our guest. Mr. Harman, the leader of the opposition, has put out a very, very strong statement, again, saying that he is still requiring certain information of the government and that they should suspend this batch of COVID-19 vaccines until we have the right information on it. And then just today, right, look how these guys like to obey the rules. This is Hamilton. This is Hamilton doing a workshop in Barbados, no mask on, because they don't subject themselves to the same rules and regulations like the other members of the public. Folks, I want to welcome Mr. Garvin Blackman from the Bahamas, and I want to welcome as well. My brother Samuel. All right, and Samuel is joining us from Barbados, Bahamas, Barbados, and we have Sherrod Duncan from good old GD in the house. Guys, how are you doing?
Wow. Good evening, Sherrod. What's happening?
Well, guys, you know, it's fraudulency, is crosses, is install people. That's what's happening. It's one crosses to the next in this country, fellas. One crosses to the next. Right, so let's pick up our discussion on this Sputnik-V vaccination process. I don't know how things are going at your end, so why don't we start there? How is the COVID situation at your end? I know Barbados seems to be easing some of the restrictions and so on after coming out of a very tight lockdown period. What's happening in Barbados and the Bahamas?
Okay, pleasant good night to each and every one of you. Nice to see this young man there. I'm very impressed with him. Sherrod, I would like to first of all extend my condolences to my family, the guy that died in the accident from here that drove to the wall. And right, he was working with me before. I was the last person he worked with before he leave here. You know, so I'd like to extend my condolences to his family and his close friends and stuff. Yes, but for the COVID situation here, Sherrod, we all know that the authorities here are doing a fantastic job. Lock, Lockdown measures are still in place. They should be lifted in another few days or so from now. But we are turning some very, very, very low rates here, and I'm very pleased to be living in a place like Barbados, one of the best places to live right now in the world. That's the fact, Sherrod.
Yeah, and I think one of the good things there is that the authorities took the COVID vaccine, the COVID issue very, very serious early on and dealt with it very, very frontally. Garvin, what's happening at your end on the COVID front?
Well, Sherrod, in the Bahamas, we pretty much have it under control. It's not spiraling out of control as some places might be experiencing. And I think it's because citizens are taking precautions. Of course, you're going to have this situation where some persons still feel, because they're not seeing deaths around them, that it doesn't really exist, and so they might be a bit carefree. But if you're to compare what's happening in Guyana with what is happening here, the Bahamas is way ahead in terms of their approach. And I think the government's approach is more structured, and we are seeing the difference in terms of how the people are dealing with it, and in terms of the level to which persons are feeling consequences associated with this pandemic. Following certain guidelines, and having a government that really and truly are taking it seriously, it makes a great difference in the country.
And if I may, Sherrod, if I may, the last time when I was on your program, I made mention of Barbados being considered, and I would like to reiterate that when it is said that Barbados is the most intelligent out of the Caribbean, I came under some serious whooping from my peers for making such a statement. But the reason why I made such a statement, Sherrod, the people here submit themselves to leadership, and they're open to direction. Now you have a failed state, no leaders, no direction. Who is going to talk to who, and who is going to point who into what direction? So when all is said and done, if the leaders are not themselves prepared to lead by example, Sherrod, we can see that they're having parties, and they're having big functions and big fetes. There are particular type and a particular sets of people can be involved in these things. And then you have the military bosses, who would visit a particular set of functions. If you're going to look, Sherrod, tonight, I don't know how long we'll be on this program, but I'm very, 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 very mad with what is going on in Guyana. And it seems as though, look at the Minister of Education, the Minister of Health.
This is the Minister of Labor, not even following the government's own regulation in terms of wearing masks. Right?
He cannot give a proper account of exactly what is happening and what they plan to do and how they're going to go about doing this thing, Sherrod. And this to me is utter nonsense. I guess I can use my term nonsense here because I realize you guys cannot use it in Parliament. But it is utter nonsense, Sherrod. Where are they taking these people? Where are they taking the Guyanese people with this COVID business? Look, when this whole COVID thing started, Barbados and Guyana were going neck and neck. 20-something cases, 30-something cases, 1 death, 2 deaths. Now Barbados has a record of 47 deaths. Guyana has 400 and something deaths. Where are we going? And as I said the last time, it seems as though COVID is a business in Guyana, because our leaders are setting the wrong precedents, and the people are following by their examples. So there is where we are, Sherrod. There is where we are. currently?
Both Garvin and Samuel, you all have been keeping abreast of what's happening here with this Sputnik vaccine issue, which gives more questions than answer. We don't know so much of the information. I mean, we are what? We are how many days since this vaccine has started to be administered, and the leader of the opposition asking one set of questions all the time, and they can't seem to answer. And that is what boggles the mind. The leader of the opposition wants to know, for instance, the quantities and batch numbers of the vaccines purchased from this Sheikh Al Maktoum, right, and Umar Farouk Zahur, right, the shipping information, transshipment information, the procurement procedures utilized is a secret. It's a state secret. What are your thoughts, being in the diaspora looking in? What are your thoughts?
All right, Sherrod. So I'm going to jump in on this. First of all, are you there?
Go right ahead.
All right, yes. So I'm going to jump in on this first of all. Now, a basic business student would know about the distribution chain. And we have channels of distribution. Now, one would know that if you have persons between the producer and the consumer, those are what we call intermediaries. Now, if you're going to use an intermediary, it therefore means that the intermediary needs to make profit. So the intermediary has to mark up. And so the consumer is going to pay way more than if the consumer were to buy from the producer. Now, if the makers of this vaccine, if Russia is the maker of this vaccine, then why is the government not buying the vaccine from the company in Russia, or whether it's through the government? Now, the thing is, if you look at the accepted price, the going price on the world market for the vaccine, is it $10, I think? Is it $10? Yes, $10. And the price they're paying for it is what? $24. They're paying for this vaccine. Now that is 140% beyond the going price, the price on the world market there. Now, if you look at that, one would ask the question, why would the government choose to buy a vaccine for $24 as opposed to $10, even if you're not getting it at the $10? Isn't there a better price to negotiate if you buy from the producer? Definitely you get a lower price. So the question still lingers. Why is it they're not buying from the producer for the vaccine? And because of that, there's so many other question marks that are gonna go up in one's head as to is it that you're using an unofficial channel of distribution because you have other motives behind it? Is it a case where the price is being secretly inflated so that some people somewhere will get a cut back on it? I'm telling you, I look at a lot of politicians, and it seems to be the trend that politicians tend to inflate prices a lot because persons want to get a cut. The amount of cut politicians get, if they were to get cuts, literally they bleed to death. I am telling you.
But Garvin, you're exactly right.
Every contract you have to get a cut. It means that some other project somewhere else, which could have been done to develop the country, is put on the back burner because you choose to pay exorbitant prices, of which some of it will go into either your pocket or your friend's pocket or family's pocket, and the Guyanese people will suffer in a situation like that. They are going to continue to suffer. So if the country could actually execute 20 different projects in a fiscal year with the given resources that they have, the poor country probably might barely get to execute 8 of them. Why? Because of the inflated prices for these projects. And the country suffers. I always say one thing, Sherrod. If, regardless of how large these budgets are that they're reading out in Parliament, regardless of how large these budgets are, if the fruits of these budgets do not translate into a better life for the common man, if the end result of expenditure by the government does not translate into a better life for the common man, if they cannot see that in their everyday life, then the budget and all that is in the budget is really and truly a waste of time. It's a waste of taxpayers' dollars. It's a waste of the efforts and the energies of citizens who work tirelessly to build the country with the limited resources that they're given. Not necessarily the resources, the actual resources that the country has at its disposal, because the common man might never see that. If you are allowing this to continue, this inflation of prices and so on, the country cannot develop at the pace at which it could actually develop. Ghana is 70 something years. Republic status, independent status. Guyana is what? 51?
54.
54. Yes, 54. 54 years. You look at other countries, many other countries within the Caribbean, look at the independence status and look at the development, and you compare it with Guyana. Where is Guyana going? And look at the overwhelming resources that we have. Where are we going? This Sputnik issue is just a microcosm of the bigger picture.
Yeah. So let's dig into that a little more as we look at program time, guys. Now, this guy who has certified that these vaccines are authentic, we didn't buy it from him. We bought it from a third party. He was in charge of an oil company up until March when the company filed for bankruptcy. Suddenly he's into medicine now, talking about vaccines. So he is certifying. We didn't buy it from him. We bought it from somebody else. The other man can't certify. Now, we don't know whether it is these exact same vaccines that the Sheikh bought from Russia or where he got them from, because we don't have the information. We don't have the batch number that was sent from Russia. We don't have all the other information that I would have said Mr. Harmon, the leader of the opposition, is still asking for. So there are a lot of questions. Now, this fellow, Mr. What is his name? Alexander Kristikov. Now, there are some contracts available online where he is signing as the seller of these Sputnik-V, but for some strange reason, he'll sell with these vaccines. We got to go through this third party and buy it more expensive than we would have gotten it if we had gone directly to the Russian government. It stinks to high heavens, gentlemen. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Now, Sherrod, we would all agree that more than 50% of the Guyanese populace, they are not mentally lazy. We will also agree that programs like these goes a very, very long way in enlightening the populace and those at large of exactly what is going on. People are not stupid. People are not stupid. This is all about money for the boys. And sometimes I ask myself questions. It has nothing to do with one's intelligence, but your basic common sense, IQ. Mr. Trump will refer to his IQ all the time. Can you not pick sense out of nonsense and understand that the burden that is being created, these monsters, financial monsters, are not paying taxes, and it's all about the poor people of Guyana who would have to continue paying these taxes until such time? Can't we all come to that place where we understand that? And if we do not do something about it, our children and our children, children and our children, children would be bare to carry the burden for a long, long time, Randy, Sherrod. And I could safely say what the APNU, AFC were doing for Guyana for the past 5 years, and they will continue to do in the next 5, 10 years, is what the people need. I cannot see this party as a one particular kind of people party. This party reaches out to the entire Guyana, in so much so that some of the bases, your bases, were angry that you all were not doing enough for them. I could have understand the plea, but I understand exactly what you guys were doing. This is not marginalizing a set and allowing a set to look good. What you guys were doing was going around the clock, dealing with all the little areas that needs to be dealt with, putting the necessary things in place, systems are set in place. For example, internet services, building of new schools. Why this government do not want an educated populace? Why? Why do you not want to bring this
right here now?
Huh? Why? Everybody cannot get a degree from the University of IFLA. And another thing, why is it that the government of Guyana cannot go directly to the president or the government of Russia to get the Sputnik vaccine, right? And they can go to Miami and use the signature to get a computer to give a citizen to be creating mayhem in the country. But you cannot use that signature to another government for the safety and the lives of your people. This is what leadership is about. This is what leadership is about. Sherrod, I know that you're getting down to your time, and Gavin, I know you would have touched a few areas. So allow me to touch one particular area before Sherrod. This interfering with this constitutional body. What these people are doing, it is going to come back to haunt them, and they are causing mayhem in this country. If you are putting yourself in position to interfere with these body, it means that every president goes in that position is going to do likewise. I spoke about the judiciary, and the judiciary needs to be operating as an independent body. We are still not getting that independence, Mr. Duncan. And as a result, what is happening in Guyana would continue happening. I want the Chief Justice to remain there even when you guys come back to power. And I want to see if she would reverse this decision, or if she would continue doing passing the judgment the way she is passing them, which is not consistent with our constitution. Mr. Conway, he would have been one of my training officers, and he would go down in my book as one of the most respected police officers in my time, and even now. I cannot see you want to assassinate that man's character because you're not getting your way. Come on, man, let's bring some decency and order.
It's a PPP, Samuel. It's a PPP.
Let us bring some decency and order. Let us bring Guyana back to the place where Guyana should be, where we can live as one and enjoy the fruits and the benefits thereof. Leaders who wants to fill their pockets and the pockets of their friends, they are not leaders. They have no need being in those positions. If a man chooses to take this road and chooses not to take this road because of the people, Sherrod, leave this thing out. People are putting you in a position of this nature because they want you to speak for them, act on their behalf, do on their behalf, and make them feel comfortable. But Sherrod, when you are doing for yourself and those close to you, what are you doing to the rest of the people, Sherrod? This is not what one nation, one destiny, one people stand for. That is not a true reflection and true representation of what our motto speaks of. And Sherrod, as soon the better this nonsense comes to an end, whereby the APNU AFC is back in government, until such time, the people of Guyana would have to brace for this hardship and these excruciating prices and pain and agony. A demon of death is reigning over Guyana because of what these people are doing. And I firmly believe that the hands of God is on.
I agree with you on that front.
The hands of God is on Guyana for such a time like this, that God chooses to move Guyana forward. And whoever is there and is going to be a hindrance to God's movement, God himself is going to step in and do what he has to do. The people, the blood and the tears of the people in Guyana, I can sense that it is reaching the nostrils of God. As a result, look, I was pleased to be informed that the Undersecretary from the United States of America had to make a call to address the way you are treating and dealing with your people in your country. Come on, man, Sherrod.
We're all happy about that. And before we go, I want to direct your attention to this article, which earlier on I said appeared in SPUTNIK just today on this Sputnik-V issue. Now, the article that dominated the front page was this mysterious fella who's certifying these vaccines. Now, listen to what this article said, that the WHO is concerned about this Russian Sputnik-V plant, right? Now, this article was stuck at the back of Sabak News. Listen to what the article says. At the site, the WHO pre-qualification inspection team found issues with the integrity of data and test results produced during quality control tests of the shot. The report also identified concerns with the implementation of adequate measures to mitigate the risk of cross-contamination. Right now, this was stuck neatly at the back of the papers, and what dominated the front page is this mysterious fellow who sent a letter from someplace across the globe who we don't know, right? But his word got more weight than the World Health Organization that we subscribe to. Huh? Garvin?
Yeah, Sherrod. Now, we talk about vaccines like AstraZeneca. We hear about vaccines like Johnson & Johnson and Pfizer and so on. And those vaccines, before they were even administered to people, they had tests run and so on, right? Those vaccines were tested. And the public was made aware of the results of those tests run that those vaccines had. And so I'm wondering what kind of research was put into the authenticity of this Sputnik-V that Guyana is using. When I heard Guyana is using Sputnik-V, I was like, what is that? You know, like, where did they get that from? And then later on, I learned that it's a Russian vaccine. What is even more troubling is that it's a Russian vaccine, but they didn't buy it from Russia. They didn't buy it. That is even more troubling. You know, it's a Russian vaccine. One, it wasn't WHO approved, and so and two, what makes it even worse, it wasn't bought from the source. You bought it from some middleman or some intermediary. And so it keeps putting us on the back leg altogether in terms of really whether this vaccine is authentic, that you are pumping into people's arms. And it is bizarre for me to think of it that way. You know, it's bizarre that you have a vaccine that is controversial, and you even still continue to administer this vaccine despite all that you're hearing that is going on with this vaccine. What I would glad to know is that the government can actually present to the Guyanese populace um, information pertaining to research that was conducted by the government itself through its agencies, the respective health agencies, with regards to the authenticity of this vaccine. In general, the government needs to give the Guyanese populace the assurance that this vaccine is really authentic. And the assurance should not come through just some email or something to show that, hey, these are the batch numbers, or these are, the authenticity should come by means of the information coming directly from the source, the producer of this vaccine. That's where you need to get the information from. And we need to see evidence of the trial runs and all these different things that were conducted with regards to this vaccine. Because Sharon, you're hearing, let me tell you, you're hearing now across the world, you're hearing about side effects of vaccines. You're hearing about heart inflammation and all these things. You're even hearing about heart inflammation resulting from vaccines that were tested, and the results were proven that these vaccines are effective. And yet you have some persons who are suffering. It's not confirmed, but you have some persons who they are actually doing a research to find out if indeed this heart inflammation is coming from as a side effect of these vaccines that were already tested and proven to be effective. Imagine Sputnik-V. Imagine Sputnik-V. Imagine how precarious a decision that is to have that vaccine administered to people, and you do not have any solid evidence that this vaccine is really and truly an authentic vaccine. You understand? And Sharon, I need to touch quickly on one thing. I heard a lot of chatter. I don't know if it's so true, but I heard a lot of chatter going on in Guyana as it relates to some organizations are forcing their employees to be vaccinated. And the Ministry of Labor is saying that it is not legal for them to force these employees to be vaccinated. And on another hand, you are still seeing these organizations forcing them to get vaccinated and even threatening them. Now, Sharon, I do hope that the Ministry of Labor is put on guard that should these employees be treated unjustly and they're fired because they refuse to take any vaccine, I do hope the Ministry of Labor is going to look into it, and they're going to ensure that those employees are not treated unjustly in any way or the other, right? They're going to ensure that is happening. And I also hope too, Sherrod, that the trade unions, in Guyana are on guard, and they're watching this closely because they need to be ready to fight for these workers' rights. Should it come down to this, the unions need to put some, they need to put some fish in their back, as you put it. They need to put backbone, and they need to stand up for these employees. Unions need to be worth their salt in that country, in Guyana. Unions need to be worth their salt, and they need to stand up for employees.
Well said. Guys, we have to close, unfortunately. 30 seconds. My brother Samuel, closing thoughts.
Well, Sherrod, how much more can we say I listened to Mr. Norton, who says there's a time to agitate, there's a time, there's a time to procrastinate too. I guess the procrastinating part would have come and done, and there's a time for action. And I know the wheels of the Navy turn slowly. And whatever you guys are doing, I must compliment you. You guys are doing a fantastic job down there, and I'm overwhelmed to see that the responsibility that you would have taken on yourself, on Gaffing Matthew, the Rickford Burke and Mark, to ensure that we keep people enlightened with what is happening. And not before long, Sherrod, mark my word, not before long, the right people would be in place in Guyana to lead the people of Guyana to the place where they're supposed to be. Renegotiating of the oil contract, etc., etc. Everything is going to fall into its right perspective. Keep the fight up, keep the pressure on, and let us keep doing this for the people of Guyana and not ourselves.
Thanks very much, Samuel. Thank you. Garvin, final thoughts, 30 seconds.
I am not a politician, and by no means am I trying to be a politician here. I'm the voice of the common man on the street, a common Guyanese. Now, and this is my call to the government of the day and to the opposition and all the other parties involved. At the end of the day, when your decision is made and implemented, ask yourself, is this a humane decision? Is it a decision that's going to benefit all Guyanese? We're all human beings, regardless of our race, regardless of whatever it is that demographically or so on that really separates us. We are all human beings. And so the government and all the political players, all the stakeholders in all of this, ask yourself, am I doing the humane thing? What am I doing? What is right? Or am I satisfying a political agenda? Listen, politicians will be politicians, but when it comes to help, in the face of help, we need to unite. Everybody needs to unite. And I would always say this, the people need to know what is happening, because in this plight, it is their health at risk. And once their health at risk, they are equally involved in it all. And they need to know what is happening so that they can make informed decisions. And so when I say I'm not taking a vaccine because I'm not sure where that vaccine came from, I'm not sure what is in that vaccine, then I have every right to say I'm not going to take it. And when I take it, it is my decision that I'm putting this into my body. And I close by saying, by sharing this quote with us all. According to Ken Blanchard, he said, all of us is better than one of us. And that is what I want to go out to the government and all the politicians in Guyana, not just government officials, all the politicians, even those little ones that banter about the place. All of us is better than one of us. We need to live. People die and wealth remain. We all need to live. Remember that.
All right, guys. Samuel out of Barbados and Garvin out of the Bahamas. I want to thank you guys for stopping in the ring this evening, for coming in the ring and pelting these many punches. Have a great evening, fellas.
Yes, you're welcome, man. The pleasure was all mine.
All right, folks. And there you have it, guys. We want to encourage you guys to share the live stream. Those of you who are going to come back and watch later on, continue to social distance, continue to sanitize, wear your mask, practice all of the other COVID protocols that are in place for your health and your safety. Thanks for joining us, and do stay safe. Thanks for joining.